Howdy, the name's Coasterman, and we are going to be heading on to Six Flags Over Texas in Arlington, Texas today. So, this video is going to be presented in a vertical format, and maybe through a different setting, so stay tuned to figure out what that is, and I will meet you there. Here we are. We have made it to Six Flags Over Texas. The major leagues start now. This is Aquaman Power Wave. This ride is a mock shuttle coaster of some sort. I don't exactly know what exact model it is, but it's mock.
Welcome to Aquaman Riders.
So,
make sure you don't have
this thing goes up to 65 miles an hour, and then the big finale comes next. You can see it past the canvas to the tent, and then boom! I'll bet you that's a drenching splash.
All the way down against your waist. Again, you can push down your longboards.
There we go.
Down against your waist.
And that was Aquaman Power Wave. I'll be giving my ride review next. Oh, wait. That was the best water ride I've ever been on. The Mystic River Falls at Silver Dollar City is going to have some big boots to fill here, because this ride has a top speed of 65 miles an hour, and that is more than enough to get you drenched. So, yeah, that thing is everything that I was expecting in a 3-year wait. A turntable for faster throughput, and just a high-octane thrill ride altogether. Up ahead we have Pandemonium. This is I'm thinking it's Gerstlauer spinning coaster. This thing is basically run like a Wild Mouse in segments, and like a regular spinning coaster in others. So it's really a wild card of a coaster here. Okay. Well, that splash wall seemed to have been ineffective. Anyway, this ride is really a wild card in this park, at least for a family attraction anyway. So, I believe I'll be giving my ride review next. Pandemonium does live up to its name where it comes to family coasters. That ride is nothing short of it. So, I believe we're about to do a little bit of a lunch break, but then we'll get right back to the action. This is Gunslinger. This is a chance yo-yo swing. So, this thing, it's one of the tamer rides here, compared to the rest. Still, it's a classic. I rode this back in 2001, and it was my favorite ride back then. How much I have grown.
That's the fastest swing I've ever heard.
Oh yeah? Looks like it's about to come to a stop soon. So, soon as it comes to a halt, I will give my ride review.
Too bad, we are one. We are one. Too bad we have to ride.
Stop!
Yeah.
Hey man, why don't you go hang out with your
Man, let's be on the safety too. I'm gonna be on the front.
And
Hey, I was at the front last time.
there we go. Like I said before, this ride was once my favorite at the park, so it's a classic for me. So we're about to go on to another one next. This one's going to be a blast from 2011. Well, there goes the mini mine train. I believe that's a Vekoma mine train. Maybe Vekoma Junior coaster. I don't know if it's a Vekoma or not, but honestly speaking, like I said before, I believe that I first took this on in 2011, so yeah. As usual, that was a blast. So after I get through with that drink refill, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next ride. And we are coming up to Justice League Battle for Metropolis. This, I believe, is a Sally Core dark ride with it's basically 4D, which means you get 3D glasses and the car tilts with certain scenes. So I believe I'm going to give you an inside view and then a ride review. So let's get to it. Oh, look at this, animatronic of Cyborg.
Let me tell you about the high-tech weaponry you'll find on board. Electromagnetic pulse laser blasters, 6 of them in each vehicle. They are like nothing you've ever seen before. They can disable bombs, cause inanimate objects to explode, and stun humans. Each time you hit a target, you score points just like a video game. How cool is that? They also use smart laser technology that is pre-programmed with the DNA of each member of the Justice League so that the blasters can't harm them. Unfortunately, it appears that Lex has analyzed the blasters and figured out a way to incorporate SHIELD technology into his armor. And we have reports that he also created a device to protect the Joker from the lasers too. So check this out. You will also be equipped with military-grade protective glasses. The infrared technology boosts your vision in the dark. They'll also protect your eyes from any flying debris, so be sure to wear them. We'll be monitoring your progress from these displays on my left. We're linked to...
I got about 149,000 points out of that. That was, I was doing pretty good. So, and I'm gonna meet up with my group and then we'll see what happens from there. This is Catwoman Whip as Imperilla Endeavor. This ride looks like it was inspired by the Huss Enterprise. So, it has many of the same forces except with open seats that have shoulder harnesses. So, in rides like these, where you're basically dangling from the top, it's very tricky to put in lap bar restraints. So, some companies do improvise, but others, they just go with what is easy and put the shoulder harness restraints, which is just fine for the Zamperla Endeavor, because the only real forces at play are positive and negative G-forces. Positive at the bottom, negative at the top. Yes, I am a coaster nerd. Yes, I know how G-forces go. There is a third gravitational force that I haven't listed off for this, and that would be lateral G's, which is what would swing you from side to side. If this ride employed that, there would be a lot of headbanging against the shoulder harnesses, which is typically frowned upon. That's why the suspended looping coaster is so infamous. However, when it comes to rides that don't have lateral G's, shoulder harnesses are some of the most secure restraints you can think of. So, once that ride hits ground zero, I do believe I'm going to go ahead and give my ride review. And I know the last time I said when the ride stopped in the case of the Gunslinger. That was intentional because usually the Gunslinger doesn't really hit ground zero until it stops. So, this one does. Well, I just rode the Catwoman Whip, and that ride, that is a high-speed adventure. They clocked it at about 30 miles an hour, which in rotations per minute, I'm not entirely sure what it is, but 30 miles per hour is pretty fast. I mean, there are faster, but there are also slower, so let's move on to the next ride. So, over there we have Riddler's Revenge. This is a Zamperla Discovery, and it's basically your typical frisbee ride. Just swings back and forth on a pendulum while the disc at the end spins. There are many types. There are even types where the seats look just like this, except facing inwards. And there's even a variation that looks like a claw with the seats facing inwards. So these rides are pretty popular if there are so many versions of them. But I believe this is among the first from Zamperla. I know during its opening year in 2016, it was rather problematic to try and get a ride on this thing. But unlike with Harley Quinn's Pinsanity, which we'll get to in a little bit, they seem to have ironed out all of the prototypical problems. Anyway, this thing is a pretty thrilling attraction for what it is, and it's really just a blast in general. Like, that's really as much as I have to say about it, honestly. Besides the fact that it's themed to the Riddler, which is one of Batman's villains. And might I say, the reason that he keeps getting beaten so easily is because he leaves clues at each of his crime scenes. Riddles, you might say, that ultimately don't do him any good. But old habits die hard. So let's see if his ride actually does any better than he does. Because now it's about to come to rest, and I'm about to give my ride review. Type attractions have a pretty interesting history, especially the ones that are the original Huss Frisbee model. I think that was the first one. Many others have really sprouted up in the meantime, like the KMG Fireball, the Zamperla Discovery, like the one I got off of, and other sorts of rides. So I think I'm going to try and take on one of the best rides in the park and see exactly how many loops I can get on it. I mean, of course, the Joker. This is an SNS Sansei free fly coaster, or at least a free spin anyway. This is basically the successor of the original 4D model that premiered in Six Flags Magic Mountain at Valencia, California. As you can see, these are not controlled rotations, unlike the original model of the fourth dimension roller coaster, which was controlled spins. So, I believe I'm going to go on ahead and get on and give my ride review after I embark. Well, I managed to get 3 whole rotations out of that. That's pretty cool. So, before I move on to my next ride, I'm going to cover a little bit of a, shall we say, lost potential section of this video. Anyone who knows the history of this prototype masterpiece would probably have seen it coming, but it's no less devastating to know that, according to one source, this ride is already slated to be permanently closed and removed. Harley Quinn's Pensanity. This ride is all sorts of bonkers, or at least it was when it was operating. But it was a maintenance nightmare for the park employees. So yeah, it's sad to see it go, but it's pretty well expected. And here we have arguably the best ride roller coaster in the park. This is Batman the Ride, a B&M Batman inverted coaster. Yes, that's right. This particular design was so popular, it spawned several clones. Even unofficial clones like the Great White and Goliath, which in the latter's case, it used to be an official clone, but it has since been rethemed. And speaking of similar theming, there is a 4D roller coaster that is also called Batman the Ride, but it is different. It's part of the Joker line. It's a Joker clone, unofficially. So, this ride is very, very popular, and rightfully so. The track design features 5 inversions, the most on any coaster in this park in particular. So, I believe I'm going to go ahead and ride it and give my ride review. Floor drops, you know you're in for a wild ride. And true to form, this ride makes you feel like you're in the cockpit of the Batwing itself, and doing all of the maneuvers that Batman would against an aerial foe in a dogfight. So, this ride is all sorts of chaotic and fun. Very fun. But we're about to go even faster and even higher than this. Trust me, you're gonna want to see this. This is Mr. Freeze, the park's proclaimed coolest coaster on the planet. Well, it has a contender to that title, and it goes under the same name. The only difference is the state it's in, as it is in Missouri. But regardless, this is the second tallest coaster in the park, and it is the fastest shuttle coaster, beating Aquaman Power Wave by 5 whole miles an hour. How crazy is that? Now here's the coolest part of this ride. Just watch, in just a little bit.
Side visual scan. Side is clear, move over.
There we go.
Woo! Now somebody requested 200. 200? Everybody wants 200? Alright, clear. Y'all gotta put y'all's hands up though. Hands up, goodbye.
Bye-bye. In the back of Mr. Freeze was an entirely different experience. That can be pretty intense in the back seats. So, if you want an easier ride, probably ride a little bit closer to the front. If you want a less scary ride, closer to the middle would probably be your forte. Either way though, Mr. Freeze definitely deserves its reputation, in this park at least, as the coolest coaster to launch. So, I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna go check up on my group right quick, maybe, and I might actually have me some supper, and then we'll see what happens from there. That seems to be about it for today.
End of another good day at the park.
Yep. I got a good bit of writing done. Here's hoping for more further down the line. Until then, it's Coaster Man. I'll see you later.